What's good? How we doing? So today I wanted to talk about how consistency breeds greatness. Consistency breeds greatness through the continuous act of visualizing and putting that visualization. I feel like I'm saying that wrong for some reason, but don't mind that. And bringing that forth into the physical, because the mental is not of the physical. The mental of the human avatar, or the archetype, or the avatar that we reside in temporarily. That mind is, I feel like, this is just my opinion, but I feel like the mind is obviously within this avatar. It's limited to a certain capacity that we will never fully be able to, I ain't gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. I was gonna say we'll never be fully able to learn everything, because if we were to learn everything, there would still not be enough information. And what do I mean by that? I'm saying, because if we're learning things, that's ignorant. But you gotta look at this at the same time. When we're learning things, we're now opening ourselves to new perspectives, to uplift ourselves and others, to get to certain, I don't want to say levels within our life, but to new quantum realities that we bring forth into this reality, to get new job opportunities or whatever the case may be. Right, so let me get back to the main point. Consistency breeds greatness. When I say this, I said the why am I having trouble with this word? Visualization. And I'm gonna keep that in. Because I don't care. But the visualization, okay? And bringing this vision from the mental to this plane of existence, because that thought of you becoming a millionaire or you becoming a business owner is basically your higher self dropping in downloads from another quantum reality that you have already lived out physically. But spiritually and mentally, I will say mentally, mentally and spiritually, you have to put in the work through consistency, through consistent efforts, through your choices, to align yourself. And when I mean align yourself, that's for you to decide what works with you. I'm not gonna tell you what to do to align yourself, but you have to align yourself on that thin line between what would be considered Satan and God. Satan being the ego, God being, well, if you really contradict that, God would be Satan as well. But we're talking about, let me put it like this. So the ego being Satan and higher self being Jesus Christ. Because in the Bible, Jesus Christ is meant to be taken not literally, but more in a physical sense. And so walking that thin line in the middle will lead you to your goals, your aspirations, the future that you see yourself living. Ain't no way they're cutting grass right now. Hopefully you can hear me. This isn't gonna be a long video anyways, so whatever that may be. Like if you see yourself being an artist, if you see yourself getting a degree in horticulture, psychology, or physiology, or neuroscience, or you want to be a nuclear engineer, whatever the case may be, whatever you want to be, you know, you don't need these titles or these diplomas. You don't need these to gain that knowledge, but it'll put you in positions to, like I said earlier, it'll put you in a position to jump into that reality. So consistency breeds greatness. By you being consistent in whatever the case may be, you can make YouTube videos, you could be a tattoo artist, like I was saying earlier. Sorry, my hair is getting in my eyes. Whatever the case may be, by you putting that action forward, you're telling the universe, you're telling yourself, you're telling your ego, like, yo, I have a vision on where I want to be at, and no one is going to tell me different. I'm going to be consistent throughout my days. So when I wake up, I'm going to read a book, I'm going to go to the gym. This time, I'm going to make a YouTube video. This time, I'm going to put in work towards my book. This time, I'm going to work on my clothing brand. This time, I'm going to make an art piece. This time, I'm gonna read again. This time, it's cool. Okay, now you can play the game. Once you get what you need to get done for that day, now you can give yourself free time. But if you really think about it, there is no time to waste. And growing into a man as a young adult, I'm 21 physically, and I turn 22 next year. But I have this image within my mind that my spirit is not starting to because I've been, but now it's really pushing that agenda forward. And especially with me, I live in my parents' house right now, but I'm moving out at the end of this month with my girl. So now it's like, it's go time. I gotta be consistent going to the gym. I gotta be consistent with my own passions and my own hobbies. I gotta be consistent with where I wanna be at. Like I said, there is no time to waste. You can have free time to yourself. You can please your ego. But how much time are you setting aside for your ego and your spirit? Your spirit is linked to your higher self. And I say that because this is just my own opinion and what I see right now. I'm open-minded to all new perspectives. So tomorrow I may have a different opinion. The next day I may be introduced to a new perspective that makes me question myself. And I'd be like, oh, okay, now I see what's going on. Oh, all right. So, but your higher self is linked to your spirit. And your spirit is not of this physical, but it's more like a guiding compass into your future self. And you can say that for your higher self as well, but your spirit is gonna be like, hey, yo, I noticed that you're laying down right now. We could head to the gym. We could go do what we need to do. If we need to get gas, if we need to get a drink or something, whatever the case may be. Spirit is gonna be like, okay, you need to do this. But then your ego and I'm gonna just keep it as ego for now, because the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, I feel like the subconscious mind is linked to, I feel like the subconscious mind is linked to, I was gonna say the ego, But let me not say that, because that's a thought I want to think about myself. But like I was saying, the ego's gonna be like, I don't know, I'm feeling kind of tired, my body's achy, my legs hurt, you know. But the spirit and your higher self is gonna be like, hey, yo, bro, you know, you have a vision of what you want to be. Do you want to get there? Because if you lay down today, what are you going to do tomorrow? Are you going to do the same thing? Or are you going to step into your higher frequency by embodying your higher self mentally and spiritually? But you know, I didn't get the body that I wanted to overnight. It took me a long time. I started off with 100 push-ups a day, and then I went to 300, then I went to 500, then I started doing 1,000. But now I'm back at 500. And I'm going to the gym, I'm hitting the sauna, I'm doing all this. So whatever you want to do it consistently. And I do understand if you're new to wanting betterment for yourself, it can be challenging because you're so used to your old ways. So it's really about baby steps. And I think I said this in my last video, but you can start off with once a week. Then after you do that for like 2-3 weeks, now let's do 2 times a week, now 3 times a week. If you're bored and you're just chilling, why not go to the gym? If you're bored, when you're bored, that's when your higher self will speak to you. That's when, how do you say it? That's when your future opens up to you. That's when your future talks to you. That's when you are able to see the truth that would never call itself truth. You're able to see through this eye. You're able to comprehend certain things that we live in. And what do I mean by that? You're able to comprehend certain patterns within the mind. You're able to comprehend thoughts that are not yours. You're able to comprehend what you should be doing for yourself. You're able to comprehend you're able to comprehend and read others. You're able to read yourself. You're able to be in tune with yourself and others, or your tribe, like your girl or whoever the case may be. Yeah. Okay. You know, I really just want to motivate whoever is listening to this, and just know that it's not going to happen overnight, but you can be the change that flips the switch into creating that reality that you may get to in a year, you may get to in 2 years, you may get to in 5 months. It's up to you. It's really up to you. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still guiding myself. In no way am I perfect, and nobody's perfect. We aren't. I mean, yes, we are being human, but a human would never call itself a human. Actually, let me contradict that. A human being would call themselves human. But I'm gonna put it this way. But yes, I am experiencing this 3D. I am being human, but I don't consider myself being that. I consider myself experiencing or observing. I'm observing the experience through the play called, you call it the Book of Life, because I'm experiencing the play called the Book of Life. I'm observing the experience called the Book of Life. There we go. Okay. So when you realize, like what I was saying earlier, or maybe that was another topic, but going into gematria, right? Everything has a code behind it, and programs like your mom, for example, your dad, these are things implemented into our brains to, or not our brains, but yes, our brains, but our minds. Implemented programs implemented into our minds to formulate this false reality within a false consciousness, a false consciousness. So when you consistently align yourself with your future self, now your gematria will switch up. It'll change, and it'll align yourself to the future that you envision every single day, every single moment. That's how you get it. That's how manifestation works, and the law of attraction. I feel like that's all I got. I feel like that's all I got for today. But gematria is such an interesting topic because, like with the Matrix, they show you. The Matrix, the second Matrix. I haven't seen the third one. There might be a fourth one. Maybe I'm wrong. But I only know the first two and the Animatrix, which is the prequel. But it's just mind blowing, and I'm rewatching it today to decode it for myself. But what we temporarily reside in physically is just a playing out. And there's a lot of ignorance, there's a lot of dead consciousness. But how will you move through that? How will you learn from these experiences? How will you learn from these past versions of yourself that are stuck in the same cycle? The Ouroboros, the ego, Satan. But just to clarify, you can't call your ego Satan. You can call it Satan, but you can't claim that, or you can't demonize that, because how can you demonize your nature? How can you demonize walking on grass? How can you demonize eating? Because we gotta eat. You gotta eat to stay alive. You gotta eat to not transcend back into what, you know what I'm saying? But that's all the thoughts I got for today. I appreciate you listening. And I'm becoming more consistent. I'm becoming more clear and concise and confident with my words. And my ultimate goal is to become, my ultimate goal is to be an inspiration for you. My ultimate goal is to guide you to your truth, because I don't want you to follow my truth. My truth is not your truth. If you follow my truth, that would be considered occultism, or Satanism, or Luciferianism, right? But that's all I got for today. You know what I'm saying? Just love yourself. Tell yourself that you love yourself. Look yourself in the eyes. Tell yourself, ego. So in my case, Justin, I love you. Justin, I appreciate you. Justin, I want the best for you. How can we learn from this situation or this situation into becoming a better man for your girl, for your mom, for your dad, for your brother, for your sister, for your cousin, for your grandma, for your grandpa, for your whatever, uncle, aunt, the beings around you when you go into work. You know what I'm saying? How can we be a better example for betterment? Love y'all. Take care.